reading on page 40, I think the fourth line from the top. We're reading about Aswapati's spiritual realization, his developing spiritual realization. Last time we were reading about his experience of intuition and inspiration, revelation. I just wanted to read one brief thing from the Synthesis of Yoga about that. This is towards the end of the Synthesis of Yoga in the chapter, The Gradations of the Supermind. And here he's talking about the intuitive mind, what he calls here the intuitive mind. He says the thought of the intuitive mind proceeds wholly by four powers that shape the form of the truth: an intuition that suggests its idea, an intuition that discriminates, an inspiration that brings in its word and something of its greater substance, and a revelation that shapes to the sight its very face and body of reality. So there he's talking about the intuitive mind, but then later he talks about the supermind proper and what he calls the supramental reason, which here he refers to it as kind of the first stage of the supermind, the lowest level. And there he says, the supramental reason is of the nature of a spiritual, direct, self-luminous, self-acting will and intelligence, not mental, but supramental. It acts by the same four powers as the intuitive mind, but these powers are here active in an initial fullness of body, not modified by the mental stuff of the intelligence, not concerned mainly with an illumining of the mind, but at work in their own proper manner and for their own native purpose. So, in our reading last time, he was kind of illustrating these four powers to us. I'll just read a little bit of where we had started on page 37. He said, then stooped the eagles of omniscience. A dense veil was rent, a mighty whisper heard, repeated in the privacy of his soul, a wisdom cry from rapt transcendences, sang on the mountains of an unseen world. The voices that an inner listening hears conveyed to him their prophet utterances and flame-wrapped outbursts of the immortal word and flashes of an occult revealing light approached him from the unreachable secrecy. An inspired knowledge sat enthroned within, whose seconds illumined more than reason's years. An ictus of revealing luster fell, as if a pointing accent upon truth, and like a sky flare showing all the ground, a swift, intuitive discernment shone. One glance could separate the true and false, or raise its rapid torch fire in the dark to check the claimants crowding through mind's gates, covered by the forged signatures of the gods, detect the magic bride in her disguise, or scan the apparent face of thought and life. So, and he continued, describing these a little bit and also putting it in the terminology of the Vedas to some extent. And I read a little bit from The Secret of the Veda illustrating that. And in particular, he refers to Sarma, hound of heaven, which is also kind of a symbol of intuition in the Vedas. But there also in the imagery of the Vedas, the kind of light of the, let's say, supermind or the higher mind is hidden in the caves of the kind of the lower world and guarded by the panis, which are kind of enemies of the light and are hoarding the light for themselves in these caves. And Sarma, the hound of heaven, is questing for this light, searching for the light in the caves. So that was illustrated. And we're going to have a little bit more of that imagery discussed in the lines that are coming. So from there we can perhaps continue. Tinika, would you like to begin on that fourth line on page 40?
Along a naked curve in formless self, the points that run through the closed heart of things shadowed the interminable line that carries the everlasting through the years. The magician order of the cosmic mind coercing the freedom of infinity with the stark array of nature's simple facts and life's incessant signals of event, transmuted chance and occurrences into laws, a chaos of science into a universe. Out of the rich wonders and the intricate worlds of the spirit's dance with matter as its mask, the balance of the world's design grew clear. Its symmetry of self-arranged effects managed in the deep perspectives of the soul, and the realism of its elusive art, its logic of infinite intelligence, its magic of a changing eternity.
Thank you.
I don't understand anything of this. I just don't understand what I read. Nothing.
It appears to me that he is seeing from a certain height of knowledge kind of the secrets of the way that the universe has been developed or manifested. Okay, so he's seeing also, or another way of putting it, how the eternal, the everlasting, is manifesting itself in time. So that line, he's seeing how that transition, I guess, from the eternal to time. So it showed kind of in a shadowy way the line, the indeterminable line that carries the everlasting through the years. And then again, this is like a kind of a cosmic mind also, right? The magician order of the cosmic mind, coercing the freedom of infinity with a stark array of nature's symbol facts. So that freedom of the eternal, of the infinite, is getting coerced, is getting kind of forced and pushed into a form. In a form of an array, a kind of an alignment of facts and symbol facts and events and life's incessant signals of event. it's interesting how he uses symbol facts and signals of events. He's suggesting in a way that these facts, that the events that occur are kind of symbols of an idea, of something in the mind, or of this cosmic mind. And it's transmuting recurrences into laws. A chaos of signs into a universe. And then he illustrates it as the spirits dance with matter as its mask. So all this apparent universe.
I wondered how, excuse me, this line, I wondered how to understand it, if I had to understand it, that the spirits was dancing with matter as its mask, or the spirits was dancing with matter as its mask here. I mean, with matter here or here. I was wondering.
Well, matter is being referred to as a mask of the spirit. So a kind of a form, shape of spirit. And he keeps referring to the spirit as kind of free, eternal, infinite, but matter as well-defined, finite, coerced into laws. So he's beginning to understand that the arrangement, the design of the world, and he's seeing it as a kind of a self-revelation of the spirit.
But at the same time, it reminds me what the mother says about the matter, our mind, which wants to make everything in law, and we become prisoners of these laws that our mind makes. Completely prisoners, like the physical mind, the corporal mind. So many laws. You must eat vitamin C, vitamin D. This kind of, we make laws and we become prisoners of them.
Yeah, there is this continuity between spirit and matter, which he is seeing here. He's seeing kind of that whole line that connects the two. But the closer we get into matter and lose sight of the spirit behind, then we get caught more and more into those kind of laws of matter, into the shape, into the outer forms. As mind kind of develops and expands, it kind of sees greater flexibility that's possible within matter, and we don't have to be so fixed into these rigid forms. We can open up into new possibilities. But as the consciousness gets more absorbed in matter, then that form takes precedence and it loses sight of spirit, of mind. In the spirit, there's an absolute kind of freedom. He says, the balance of the world's design grew clear, its symmetry of self-arranged effects, managed in the deep perspectives of the soul. So that design of the world and of matter is self-arranged by the Spirit, and its lines are arranged in the perspectives of the soul. Its logic of infinite intelligence, its magic of a changing eternity. Turia, maybe you could continue from there.
A glimpse was caught of things forever unknown. The letters stood out of the unmoving word. In the immutable, nameless origin was seen emerging as from fathomless seas the trail of the ideas that made the world. And sown in the black earth of nature's trance, the seed of the Spirit's blind and huge desire, from which the tree of cosmos was conceived, and spread its magic arms through a dream of space. Immense realities took on a shape. There looked out from the shadow of the unknown the bodiless namelessness that saw God born and tries to gain from the mortal's mind and soul the deathless body and a divine name.
Let's pause there. Again, he's expressing something of how the manifestation has emerged from the origin, from the Spirit. When he says, the letters stood out of the unmoving word, it suggests to me kind of the elements of the manifestation. I look at word, the term word, as kind of an expression of the Spirit. I mean, it can be referred to an expression in sound, but more broadly, it's an expression in general. Let's say in form. So the letters stood out. It's as if the elements of that expression became more clear. And then as he continues, in the immutable, nameless origin. So kind of from the oneness, was seen emerging as from fathomless seas the trail of the ideas that made the world. Before class, I was kind of looking in Sri Aurobindo's dictionary about the word. And there he kind of, there wasn't like a real clear definition, but he linked it, there was a kind of a definition linking idea and word, and also form. That it was kind of linking from the origin a manifesting force, which maybe we would call the mother, and then the idea, and then the word, which is kind of, let's say, a more formulated expression of the idea. So it seems that this is kind of what he's describing here, this sequence of steps towards manifestation in form. But then there's kind of an interesting turn. And sown in the black earth of nature's trance, the seed of the Spirit's blind and huge desire, from which the tree of cosmos was conceived and spread its magic arms through a dream of space. So in the inconscience, in the black earth of nature's trance, was sown some kind of desire that arose, kind of the seed of evolution, you might say. And out of that seed, the tree of cosmos was conceived and spread its magic arms through a dream of space. Immense realities took on a shape. There looked out from the shadow of the unknown the bodiless namelessness that saw God born and tries to gain from the mortal's mind and soul a deathless body and a divine name. So this shadow of the unknown seems to be this inconscience, the black earth of nature's trance. But out of that, something emerges. The bodiless namelessness that saw God born. That's a line I don't know that I can interpret. It's beyond. But this idea that it tries to gain from mortal's mind and soul a deathless body and a divine name, it suggests kind of an aim in the evolution. Next, Nilesh, would you continue?
The immobile lips, the great surreal wings, the wizard masked by superconscious sleep, the eyes with their closed lids that see all things, appeared of the architect who builds in trance. The original desire, born in the void, peered up. He saw the hope that never sleeps, the feet that run behind a fleeting fate, the ineffable meaning of the endless dream, hardly for a moment glimpsed, viewless to mind, as if a torch held by a power of God, the radiant world of the everlasting truth, glimmered like a faint star bordering the night, above the golden overmind's shimmering ridge, even there caught as through a cunning wheel, the smile of love that sanctioned the long game, the calm indulgence and maternal breath of wisdom suckling the child laughter of chance. Silence the nerves of the Almighty's power, the omniscient hush, womb of the immortal word, and of the timeless, the still brooding face. And the creative eye of eternity.
Thank you. Let's pause there. In the first lines, we have this very interesting image of a being with immobile lips, great surreal wings, the visage masked by superconscious sleep, as if asleep of this being. The eyes with their closed lids that see all things. A being in trance, I guess. Appeared of the architect who builds in trance.
Somewhere else in Savitri, he describes the steps and the architects and the different realms. I don't know if here.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. If that's he talks about the creators in the higher mind, kind of in different levels of mind. But this architect, it almost seems as if it's kind of emerging out of the nescience, out of the void, out of the emptiness. So then in the lines that follow, the original desire born in the void. So we had referred to that earlier, that something emerging out of that seed that was sown in the black earth, some kind of desire. So that original desire born in the void peered out. He saw the hope that never sleeps, the feet that run behind a fleeting fate, the ineffable meaning of the endless dream. So all the events, this unceasing stir of the world, of the manifestation, all this movement, he saw behind that the meaning, its significance, which was referred to earlier in the sense of trying to gain from the mortal's mind and soul a deathless body and a divine name. All this stir, this movement, it's moving towards something, and this being was able to see that significance. The hope that never sleeps, even though it's disappointed over and over again. Hardly for a moment glimpsed, viewless to mind, as if a torch held by a power of God, the radiant world of the everlasting truth glimmered like a faint star bordering the night above the golden Overmind's shimmering ridge. Seems to have caught a glimpse of the supermind. Which also is the creator of the manifestation. It's in the supermind that the manifestation kind of takes form out of the idea. Superconscient means
the highest level of
yeah,
which is involved in matter. But here he says, when he mentions it is that involved divine which pushes the evolution, the involved supermind which slowly pushes, and he says here, hardly for a moment clings viewless to mind. From the mind it is these worlds, the range to all the worlds above the mind and to overmind and above overmind. It seems like it's endless set of corridors. So the passage he's saying here, it is the involved supermind, how it creates, and the hidden intelligent involved in matter, how it creates, and then it goes up and explains.
it may be, I'm not sure. But this architect you're suggesting may be involved supermind. That may be. Because it's kind of seems to be peering out of the void, out of the nescience. And yet it's conscious, and it sees the purpose behind the manifestation. But here he's getting a glimpse of something above overmind in the superconscient, let's say. That world, a radiant world of the everlasting truth. That seems to be the world of the supermind. Glimmering like a faint star bordering the night above the golden Overmind's shimmering ridge. And then he gets a glimpse, perhaps, of the Divine Mother or a divine being. Even were caught, as through a cunning veil, the smile of love, that sanctions the long game. The calm indulgence and maternal breasts of wisdom, suckling the child laughter of chance. Silence, the nurse of the Almighty's power, the omniscient hush, womb of the immortal Word, and of the timeless, the still brooding face, and the creative eye of eternity. Remember from the author's note that Savitri is the divine word. Sri Aurobindo says in his author's note at the beginning of the poem, daughter of the sun, goddess of the supreme truth, who comes down and is born to save. So maybe Asopati here is kind of getting a glimpse, a hurried glimpse of the Divine Mother. But again, he's always linking this manifestation, the Word, coming out of the silence, coming out of the original oneness of spirit. Silence, the nurse of the Almighty's power, the omniscient hush, womb of the immortal Word. Shall we continue? Would you read next?
The inspiring goddess entered her mortal's breast, made there her study of divine thought and sanctuary of prophetic speech, and sat upon the triple seat of mind. All was made wide above and lit below. In darkness court she dug out wells of light. On the undiscovered depths in gorge afloat. Lent a vibrant cry to the unuttered vasts. And through great, shoreless, voiceless, starless breaths, poured earthward fragments of revealing thought, hewn from the silence of the ineffable. A voice in the heart uttered their unspoken name. A dream of seeking thought, wandering through space, entered the invisible and forbidden heart. The treasure was found of a supernal day.
Thank you. Let's pause there.
When he writes, the inspiring goddess entered the mortal's breast, made there a study of divine in thought, in sanctuary of prophetic speech, and sat upon the tripod seat of mind. I wonder, divine in thought and prophetic speech are also levels of his sadhana. Prophetic speech, divine in thought are different kinds of things that he tried to develop. And the tripod seat of mind, I wonder if it is not the triple knowledge that he speaks about in the synthesis of yoga. The present, future, past.
I would think of it as kind of mental mind, vital mind, physical mind. He'll describe those levels of mind in detail, even worlds associated with those levels in Book 2. But what's a bit puzzling here is this inspiring goddess entering a mortal's breast. So maybe if he could be just referring to kind of this inspiration coming down, but coming down into Aswapati, or the inspiring goddess, I don't know.
Well, I think in Indian context they gave names for all the things which come from a higher plane. Saraswati,
Yeah.
goddess of intuition and inspiration. It's not just the being,
Right.
but anyone who's open to that level of intuition.
Yeah.
That's one of the Ramanujans. You receive Saraswati's thing. So it's not, they gave images, but I think it's that Sarama and goddess of Saraswati, they were just terms used for gods which presided over inspiration and intuition and
Right.
imagination.
So it could be that.
But all this ends in the last line behind the cover. All was made white above, all below. And this is the inner chamber of matrimony. This is the inner chamber of matrimony. All was made white above, all below. So maybe the inner chamber symbolizes exactly. Correctly. 700.
I have here something written that is mother life. I said, I don't know when, but I have this mother.
I think something like this was pointed out years ago by Anna.
Oh. In the psychological sense of it, we see that, the consciousness has become open and clear. It's open to the superconscient levels, to the spirit. The inspiration is coming down, the intuition, these rays are coming down into mind and into the lower levels of consciousness, even into the darkness. So all was made wide above, all lit below. It seems as if this is occurring perhaps in Aswapati's consciousness. The light from above is bringing earthward fragments of revealing thought. A voice in the heart is uttering the unspoken name, giving expression to the divine. It's a dream of seeking thought. Entered the invisible and forbidden house. The treasure was found of a supernal day. It's all quite mystic. It's difficult to fathom. These are kind of images symbolic of truths that he is revealing. Nitya, would you like to read? In the deep subconscious.
In the deep subconscious glow of the dreamland. Lifted, it showed the riches of the cave, where, by the miser traffickers of sense, unused, guarded beneath night's dragon paws, in folds of velvet darkness, draped they sleep, whose priceless value could have saved the world. A darkness carrying morning in its breast, looked for the eternal, wide, returning gleam, waiting the advent of a larger ray, in rescue of the lost herds of the sun. In a splendid extravagance of the graceful ball, dropped carelessly in creation's mental world, left in the chantiers of the bottomless world, and stolen by the robbers of the deep, the golden shekels of the eternal life, hoarded from touch and view and thought's desire, locked in blind entries of the ignorant flood, lest men should find them and be even as gods.
Thank you. So he's describing here one of the, I think, important or even central images in the Vedas about the cows being kind of captured and hidden in these caves by these beings, panis, kind of lower beings. The cows being symbolic of light. And these beings, here their symbolic significance, miser, traffickers of sense. So this is kind of maybe the lower elements of the mind involved in, sense objects, looking for sensual pleasure in seeing and, experiencing, feeling all the things around us. These things hide from us. Let's say these activities of the lower mind hide from us the higher light.
Sri Auroville mentions in the letters of the yoga, the robbers are the vital beings, not vital beings.
Vital.
Mostly not the mind, because mind is more illumined than the vital.
Mm.
It's generally the asuric beings are from the lower vital and vital beings, vital beings. Because he's mentioned the symbolism of what robbers mean, of cows mean, and illusions and letters of the yoga.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to read this. It says, by the mice traffickers of sense and use. So together, no? Referring to the senses that are not used.
Yes.
And they seem to say whose priceless value would have saved the world. Is the unused senses?
The riches of the cave are
The riches.
Sorry?
The riches, not
the
the
riches of
traffickers.
the cave are unused because they are trafficked by the outward senses.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
In this line, in the splendid extravagance of the waste of God.
But what is the story of the caves, of the herds of the sun eating in the caves? What is the story? I forgot something.
The cave.
Hmm?
The cave.
The cows being hidden in
Yeah.
the cave.
Yeah.
What is the story behind that? I mean,
But the cows, as he said, they are the symbol of light.
Yeah, but why are they hidden in the cave?
Because these beings do not want us to reach the light, so they hide them there, and we are the slaves of these beings, we're the slaves of our senses, and in all our daily life we are constantly subjugated to our senses and to our body, and we don't reach the light because of that.
Waste of God.
What line are the cows?
Yeah.
Hmm?
It's like
It's not here, it's in the Veda. They call the cows, they call the light cows.
Yeah, Apollo had his herds of cows coming directly from the sun. In the cave, he told us, but I forgot the story. But he also had to hide them in a cave.
No, they're hidden. I mean, in the Vedas, there's always this battle going on between the forces of light and the forces of darkness. And so that's part of the forces of darkness are kind of holding that light hidden within themselves. They don't want to release that light.
And I think that's just the process of creation itself. It started from manifestation, started from the inconscient and darkness. It's not that it was hidden and then it was why they are hiding it. Because the whole evolution of creation started from the inconscient and the spirit waking up and trying to come out and go into subconscious and then climbing each level and then trying to reach the light and light trying to come down and again there's a light. This whole thing Vedas is describing.
Yeah, so that's kind of another way of looking at, or another image that he had described earlier of as if like a seed sown in the earth, in the dark earth. So, and then out of that the tree of cosmos arose. So it's kind of another image of the same type of idea that there is this light hidden within the darkness and that it has to be here rescued or brought out.
Through yoga.
Huh? And in this image there's kind of this battle going on between the gods and the lower beings that are trying to hold on to this light. They don't want to release it. Just like in us, we have to kind of struggle in sadhana. It doesn't come automatic.
And what are shantias?
I think, I didn't look this up just prior, but I think I've looked before, and it seems to me that the pronunciation is shanti, and that I think it's kind of, like kind of small, dark kind of, or small building or small places.
Is there a French word? Shanti?
I have written
Chantier, this word,
Ah, chantier.
Chantier.
is that a French word? I believe it is.
What is chantier?
It's for example, when you were building Savitri Bhavan, it was a chantier. It was in work with cement, workers. It was a chantier. All the people who build things, the place where they build it becomes a chantier with a lot of works going on. And
I think scaffolding is the translation.
yeah, no, chantier is everything. The whole thing is a chantier. Where you have all you dig and put cement, and this whole thing is a chantier.
It's interesting. Yeah. Thank you. And it makes sense. Yeah.
Which line?
723.
Ah, yes.
And
It's working place.
Yeah.
so for line 727, the blind enters.
Mm.
Tell me what's an enter.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hunters is the name given to the like cage where the animals go. It's a place where the animals go, the family.
I have here written from, I think from Salaman, cave dark. A dark cave. Cave, dark cave. Cave.
And the shekel, the golden shekel, it's Jewish money?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jewish money, huh?
Yes.
Seems to be specifically talking about the treachery of Judas, that he got 30 shekels for Jesus.
Mm.
But it's so in the Bible, Judas got 30 golden shekels for betraying Jesus.
Oh.
So it's sort of the betrayal of the truth, or silver shekel.
Mm.
Okay. So it's a reference to something in the Bible.
It's very very much referenced in the Bible.
He betrayed Jesus and got 60 shekels paid for it. What's that? A lie. Eternal lie.
Shall we continue?
A vision lighted on the viewless heights, a wisdom illumined from the voiceless depths, a deeper interpretation greater than truth, the grand reversal of the night and day. All the world's values changed, heightening life's aim. A wiser word, a larger thought came in, than what the slow labor of human mind can bring. A secret sense of work that could perceive the presence and the greatness everywhere. The universe was not now a senseless world, born ground inert on an immense machine. It cast away its grandiose, lifeless front, a mechanism no more the work of chance, but a living movement of the body of God. The spirit hid in forces and in the forms was the spectator of the mobile scene, the beauty and the ceaseless miracle, led in a glow of the unmanifest. The formless everlasting moved in it, seeking its own perfection, seeking its own perfect form in souls and things. Life kept no more a dull meaningless shape. In the struggle and upheaving of the world, he saw the labor of the Godhead's birth.
Thank you. Let's pause. So through Aswapati's spiritual realization, through these intuitions and inspirations, opening up to the higher knowledge, seeing even glimpses of the supermind, and even below the lower reaches of his consciousness getting illumined by this light coming down from above, releasing the hidden light in the subconscious regions. He begins to see the significance, the meaning of the universe, of life. It all becomes clear, and it becomes kind of a unified phenomena. The universe becomes, for him, the living body of God. He says, the universe was not now this senseless whirl, borne round inert on an immense machine. It cast away its grandiose, lifeless front. A mechanism no more, or work of chance, but a living movement of the body of God. And he experiences a spirit hid in forces and in forms, was the spectator of the mobile scene, the beauty and the ceaseless miracle, let in a glow of the unmanifest. The formless everlasting moved in it, seeking its own perfect form in souls and things. Life kept no more a dull and meaningless shape. In the struggle and upheaval of the world, he saw the labor of a Godhead's birth.
The line 740 and following, like, he makes like a kind of a contrast between the mechanism, the work of chance, and the living movement of the God. It reminds me of what we say about the left and right hemisphere.
Of the brain?
The scientific view and the mystic view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems pretty clear that he's contrasting it with the kind of accepted scientific view. But this image of a living movement of the body of God, it's quite significant, no?
It's magnificent, no?
Mm.
You see the stars and you see the movement of God.
See it as the body of God. But also this kind of evolutionary idea is there, seeking its own perfect form in souls and things. It's not kind of a finished, completed thing yet. It's still manifesting. It's still in process. And then he images as the labor of a Godhead's birth. I think we stop there for today.